Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. As we know, Modern Warfare is in an incredibly weird situation currently where it's not the current COD, however, it's still kind of booming when it comes to the player base. It's still getting content thanks to the Cold War integration, which of course connects it to Cold War and Warzone through the seasonal ranks and then also the Battle Pass. Then on top of that, we know more content is coming, pretty big content for what it's worth, and that's set to release at some point in the future. However, the way that these updates and the way that this content is going to be introduced into the game is still kind of a very big mystery, just because the game is in such a weird state. But there is actually quite a bit to talk about when it comes to this unreleased content and all these huge missing updates, and basically what should have been, what could have been, Season 7. So as we go through everything today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here, or if you're watching and you're not already subbed to the channel, we are working towards that nice 669k sub milestone. So if you want to stay on top of everything going on in COD, this is the place to be. So feel free to subscribe and maybe even turn on those post notifications. Now, of course, a month ago, honestly, even like 2 months ago, when we first started seeing new leaks surface, we all assumed, hey, looks like Season 7 is coming up. We've got weapon leaks, we've got intel leaks, all that stuff, right? Well, obviously, that did not happen. Season 1 is here now across all 3 games, and this, I guess, is what you could almost call like a seasonal umbrella, and it's going to continue for Modern Warfare and Warzone, and it's going to be all based off of the Cold War seasonal content. So when Cold War Season 2 happens, we're going to be back in Modern Warfare Season 2, even though that already happened like a year ago. Kind of a weird process, but that's pretty much how things are going to work moving forward. However, over the past few days and weeks, we've seen a lot of very strange Modern Warfare and Warzone specific content surface, ranging from new weapons to maps to operators, which just so happens to be the exact content that we would see if there were to be a brand new season. Now, keep in mind, this is just a bit of theorizing here. Nothing is really ever set in stone with this kind of conversation, but to me, Infinity Ward at one point planned for a Season 7. You know, it was going to happen at one point in time, but then because of the multiple seasonal delays we had throughout the year, and because of kind of the awkward launch for Cold War, things just didn't line up to release Season 7 when it was initially planned, and thus it was kind of scrapped. However, the content planned for the season wasn't. And I say that because with the past few updates, more and more unreleased content is being added into the game. Not to mention, this past week we got the massive end or finale cutscene for Warzone, which shows Price saving Verdansk. Essentially, he presumably kills Victor Zakhaev. However, we only see Victor fall. We don't actually see the confirmation that he ain't around anymore. And in the classic movie and video game scenario, if you don't see them die, there's probably a strong chance they didn't actually die. So we may see a return there in the future. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see, but we saw that happen. We saw the nuke get disarmed. We also saw, or I guess rather heard, that Soap is confirmed to be coming to the game in the future. And more on him here in just a moment. With that cutscene, obviously, we also got 2 brand new intel missions. And the first one in specific, Outside Influence, 110% was supposed to go live back during Season 6. One of the objectives in that intel refers to a gulag mission. It says, hey, you know, this guy is in the prison, he has intel. In order to actually grab that intel piece, you have to go into the gulag in a battle royale match to collect it. Except the new gulag, the whole interrogation area where we have Nuketown, is where you can find the intel. That's not a prison. The old gulag was a prison, so obviously it wasn't referring to this new one. It wasn't intended to take place in the current gulag. So that to me just adds more to the idea of Season 7 was initially supposed to happen, and just Infinity Ward ran into a lot of scheduling conflicts, I guess, and thus that's why the final cutscene and those 2 intel missions dropped at such a random time. So I guess take that for what it's worth, but regardless of how things played out there, that doesn't change the fact that there is a ton of content set to come to Modern Warfare and Warzone, and guess what? It's not specific to Cold War either. Reed from Infinity Ward actually mentioned about a month ago now that there is more content coming, but it wasn't going to be classified under Season 7, or at least the title of Season 7 was not set in stone at the time. Unfortunately, he literally mentions in that tweet that he hopes we're going to get more info released so we can sort of know what to expect with this new content, but alas, there hasn't been much of anything in the way of communication when it comes to any kind of content from IW. However, we know we have the CX-9, aka the Scorpion Evo SMG, we know we have the Psykov, aka the Makarov pistol, we know we also have the RAL or the RAAL LMG in the files right now, The CX-9 and the Psychov are literally in the multiplayer combat record for whatever reason. We also know we have some gunfight maps and some 6v6 maps coming too. And of course, thanks to the final cutscene for Warzone and also some recent leaks, we know that we've got Soap coming to the game as well. John McTavish himself is in fact returning, and to add on to that even more, the other day the operator bundle for Soap and then also the bundle for the other quote-unquote Season 7 operator ended up leaking. This confirms even more that both are coming to the game here pretty soon. What's really strange though is that both bundles, for Shane Sparks, who is the new operator, then also for Soap, they're listed as Cold War bundles, even though clearly and obviously they are not connected to Cold War as far as the canon storyline goes. But yeah, that Soap bundle is set to include some ice tracers, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Then it's also got an ice pick blueprint as well, throwing it back a bit with that one. Then the Shane Sparks bundle is like your basic operator bundle. It's got Shane Sparks himself, it's got some new blueprints, a vehicle skin, and then like the basic filler stuff, calling cards, charms, emblems, all that stuff. So in terms of what you could call, I guess, the standard seasonal content, that's pretty much what we can expect there. And again, what we have leaked is literally a season's worth of standard content. And again, that's just sort of connecting the dots, proving that Season 7 was definitely supposed to exist. Now, outside of these standard seasonal content, there's also a lot of other updates and changes that are just straight up missing. Some of which we were actually told were gonna happen, and thus far, yeah, they just haven't. Now, one big update that we got for Warzone that was actually mentioned prior to the game launching is larger squads as time went on. Back when Warzone was being announced and revealed and all that jazz was going on, there was this whole interview with some of these studio heads and developers. It was actually mentioned that the game would have trios, quads, solos, all the normal battle royale modes, right? But it was also mentioned that they wanted to expand upon that, and they were already internally testing 5-man squads, 6-man squads, apparently even up to 9-man squads at one point. But obviously, as of now, we've only seen it cap out at quads. That said, a lot of people are thinking that the final cutscene showing Price, Ghost, Alex, Farah, Nikolai, and then also Gaz is a hint at 6-man squads incoming. But in all reality, we're never going to know if that is a teaser unless the mode gets announced. So we definitely have to take that one with a grain of salt. Now, in that same interview, there was also talk of the player count, right? And how Warzone was going to start with 150 players on the map at launch. However, in the future, they wanted to go even bigger. And I think for all of a week, they did. At one point, we had the whole 200-man quads limited time mode, which personally, I was a huge fan of. I loved all the extra players. It meant more action, more chaos. I was all about it. But for the vast majority of Warzone's lifespan, 150 players has been the cap, despite their initial ambitions going well beyond that. So that's another update that we are still missing as of right now. Then finally, when it comes to the missing updates, we've got a ton of other LTMs and upgrades for Warzone that were leaked quite some time ago. And most of them have still yet to come to fruition. This includes a bigger expansion to custom games where you don't necessarily have to have all the player requirements. You can just go in and mess around with your friends. We've got modes like Mo Gulag, Mo Problems, Inflation Redeployment, Non-Stop where the zone is always moving in, Pew Pew which is pistols only, so on and so forth. So I think it's safe to say that despite there not officially being a Season 7 and despite the fact that that's probably never going to happen, the planned Season 7 content is going to, I guess, be drip-fed throughout the coming days and weeks. And of course, as new things surface and as updates take place, you guys already know I'm going to keep you guys informed with all the latest info. So yeah, there you have it. That is effectively what we know about the mystery that is, or I guess was, Season 7, and what's going on with all the content that was planned for it. And that is going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in COD, from news to intel to updates, you name it, you're going to find it right here. So feel free to subscribe and maybe even turn on those post notifications. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products. Then also, if you want to join the community Discord server, there anytime I go live with a new video or if I go live on stream, you're always going to get a notification. Then you can also hang out and chat with myself and other members of the community as well. The link to that and to everything else is going to be down below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.